Captain Minho stared at the screen in front of him. The distress signal was weak, but it was definitely there. His ship, the Earth defense vessel Horizon, had picked it up at the edge of the solar system. This far out, nothing should be here. No Earth ships traveled this far. No colonies existed in this empty space. "Should we check it out, Captain?" asked his second officer, a young woman named Bora. Minho nodded slowly. "We have to. It's protocol. Any distress signal gets a response." The Horizon changed course. It took 3 hours to reach the source of the signal. When they arrived, Minho felt his stomach drop. The ship floating in space was massive, easily 10 times the size of his vessel. Its hull was black and smooth, covered in symbols he had never seen before. Parts of it were torn open, exposing the inside to the vacuum of space. "That's not human," Bora whispered. "No," Minho agreed. "It's not. They had met aliens before. Humanity had joined the galactic community 70 years ago. But this ship was different. It looked ancient and powerful, even in its destroyed state." "Life signs?" Minho asked. The ship's computer beeped. "One very weak. Located in the central chamber." Minho made his decision quickly. "Prepare a rescue team. Full environment suits. We don't know what's over there." 20 minutes later, Minho and 2 crew members floated through the broken hull of the alien ship. Emergency lights flickered in the corridors. The walls were covered in more strange symbols, glowing faintly. Everything felt wrong, like they had entered a tomb. They found the survivor in a large circular room. She was lying on the floor, her silver blood pooling around her. She was tall and thin, with pale blue skin and 4 arms. Her breathing was shallow. "We need to get her back to our ship," one of the crew members said. But the alien opened her eyes. They were completely black, like looking into space itself. She raised one hand weakly. "No," she said in perfect English. "Too late. Listen." Minho knelt beside her. "We can help you. Our medical bay—" "Listen." The alien's voice was stronger now, urgent.
"I am Thalvera,
archivist of the Valthine. We keep the records. We keep the codex." "The codex?" Minho asked. He had heard rumors about it. Some kind of galactic database that ranked civilizations. "Yes," Thalvera coughed, and silver blood came from her mouth. "I came to warn you." "But they found me. Shot my ship down." "Who? Who shot you down?" "The Council. They cannot let you know." Thalvera reached into her robe with a shaking hand. She pulled out a small crystal no bigger than Minho's thumb. It glowed with a soft blue light. "Take this. The truth is inside. Your people deserve to know." Minho took the crystal carefully. "Know what?" "Humanity is in the top codex," Thalvera said. Her voice was getting weaker. "Highest classification. Only 13 species in all the galaxy. Placed there 300 years ago, before you even left your solar system." Minho felt like the floor had dropped away beneath him. "That's impossible. We're newcomers. We barely have 20 colonies. Our technology is basic compared to most species." "Technology does not matter," Thalvera said. "The top codex measures potential, measures threat, measures what a species could become." She grabbed Minho's arm with surprising strength. "Every species is ranked. Most are low tier, safe, predictable. But top codex species, they break the rules. They change everything." "What are the other species in the top codex?" Bora asked from behind Minho. "Most are ancient, powerful beyond measure. Some conquered galaxies. Some created technologies that rewrote reality. And humanity," Thalvera smiled sadly. "Humanity was added for different reasons. Reasons the Council fears most of all." "What reasons?" Minho demanded. But Thalvera's eyes were closing. "The crystal. It will show you." "Not everything. I could only save fragments before they attacked. But enough to start searching." "We'll get you help," Minho said desperately. "Just hold on. No time." Thalvera's voice was barely a whisper now. "They are coming. My ship will self-destruct in minutes. They cannot know the data survived. You must go. Hide the crystal. Find the truth. The galaxy has been lying to you since first contact. They smile and call you friends, but they watch you like you watch a predator." "Why?" Minho asked. "Why would they hide this?" "Because," Thalvera said, her voice failing, "they are afraid. Afraid of what you are. Afraid of what you will become. The top codex is not a reward. It is a warning. A list of species that could end everything." Her hand went limp. Her eyes stayed open, staring at nothing. Thalvera, archivist of the Valthine, was dead. "Captain, we need to leave," one of the crew members said urgently. Now, they ran back through the corridors. Minho held the crystal tight in his gloved hand. Behind them, lights were flashing red. A countdown had started somewhere in the ship's systems. They made it back to the horizon with 40 seconds to spare. Minho barely had time to order the ship to retreat before the alien vessel exploded in a flash of white light. The explosion was massive, designed to leave nothing behind. No evidence, no proof, but Minho had the crystal. Back in his quarters, he sat at his desk and held the small object up to the light. Inside, data swirled like a galaxy. How much information was stored in something so small? What secrets had Thalvera died to protect? He thought about her words. The top codex. Humanity ranked alongside the most powerful species in the galaxy, but they had never been told. For 70 years, humans had walked among the stars thinking they were nothing special. Average. Unremarkable. What had humanity done to earn this secret classification? What did the aliens see in humans that scared them so much? Minho connected the crystal to his computer. The screen filled with symbols he could not read. Encrypted. Of course it was encrypted, but the crystal had recognized his DNA when he touched it. Somewhere in this data was the truth. He needed help. This was too big for one person. But who could he trust? If the Galactic Council had kept this secret for centuries, they would do anything to keep it hidden. Anyone he told could be in danger. Or worse, anyone he told might already be working for them. Minho looked out his window at the stars. They had always seemed beautiful and full of possibility. Now they looked different. Now each star might hide someone watching, waiting, afraid of what humanity might do next. He made his decision. He would find people he trusted. He would decode this crystal. And he would learn why the galaxy had been lying to humanity since the very beginning. Whatever the truth was, humans deserved to know it. Even if that truth changed everything. Minho stood in a secure room deep inside Earth's defense headquarters. With him were two people he trusted with his life. Commander Yuna ran Earth's intelligence division. She was sharp, careful, and never missed a detail. Dr. Hyun was a scientist who studied alien cultures and biology. He had spent his whole career trying to understand how different species thought and lived. Both of them stared at the crystal on the table between them. "You're sure about this?" Yuna asked quietly. "This could be a trap. A fake designed to make us paranoid." "Thalvera died for this," Minho said. "Her ship self-destructed to hide the evidence." "Why would anyone go through that trouble for a lie?" Dr. Hyun picked up the crystal carefully. His hands were shaking slightly. "The Valthine are real. They're archivists, record keepers for the entire galaxy. If anyone would have access to the Codex, it would be them." He looked at Minho. "But if this is real, we're in serious danger just knowing about it." "I know," Minho said. "That's why I came to you two. We need to be smart about this." Yuna stood and began pacing. It was what she did when she was thinking. If humanity is really in this top codex, there should be proof. Traces in our history, times when the aliens acted strangely around us. "That's what I was thinking," Minho agreed. "We need to look at our records. Every contact with alien species. Every treaty. Every meeting. There has to be a pattern." For the next 2 weeks, they worked in secret. Dr. Hyun spent his days and nights trying to decode the crystal. Yuna and Minho went through 70 years of human-alien contact records. They looked for anything unusual. Anything that did not make sense, they found it. "Look at this," Yuna said one night, projecting files onto the wall. 40 years ago, a war between the Draxian Empire and the Kel Federation. They had been fighting for 300 years. Millions dead. Their hatred was legendary. "I remember reading about that," Dr. Hyun said, looking up from his work. "A human negotiator ended the war." "What was her name?" "Nari," Minho said, reading from the file. "She was a diplomat. Young, only 32 years old. She had barely any experience with alien cultures, but somehow she got both sides to agree to peace in 6 weeks. 6 weeks, Yuna repeated. For a war that lasted 3 centuries. Dr. Hyun walked over to look at the files. "How did she do it?" Minho scrolled through the reports. "That's the strange part. The official record says she used standard diplomatic techniques, but there are notes here from alien observers. Listen to this. The human negotiator employed psychological methods we have never encountered. She somehow understood what each species needed emotionally, not just politically. It was like she could see into their souls." "That's not normal," Yuna said. There's more, Minho continued. Another report says, "We believe the human used what can only be described as weapons-grade empathy. She made both sides see each other as people, not enemies. The effect was devastating. Leaders who had sworn eternal hatred were crying together within days." The room was silent. Finally, Dr. Hyun spoke. "What happened to her?" Minho's expression grew dark. "She died 3 months after the peace treaty. The official report says it was an accident, a malfunction on a transport ship. But look at this." He pulled up another file. "She wasn't alone. 7 other human negotiators, all successful in impossible situations, all died within 5 years of their achievements. All accidents. They were killed," Yuna said flatly. "Someone didn't want humans proving how good they are at diplomacy." "That's what I think," Minho agreed. Over the next few days, they found more examples. An engineer named Tyke who designed a faster-than-light engine that was 3 times more efficient than anything in the galaxy. He presented it at a galactic summit. The next day he disappeared. His designs were lost. The official story said he went home, but there was no record of him ever arriving. A teacher named Minji who created a learning system that helped alien children from 12 different species learn together in harmony. She was offered positions by 6 major governments. She declined them all. A week later, her research facility burned down. She survived but lost all her work. She never taught again. A doctor named Kangho who cured a disease that had plagued the Reth species for 1,000 years. He did it in 3 months using methods the Reth's own scientists called impossible. He was honored with their highest award, then his transport ship to Earth vanished without a trace. Each time a human showed exceptional ability, something happened. The person disappeared, died, or their work was destroyed. And each time alien officials were suspiciously quick to close the investigation. "They've been suppressing us," Yuna said. Her voice was cold with anger. "For 70 years, every time one of us proved we were special, they made sure no one else found out." "But why?" Minho asked. "Why not just kill us all? They could have done it when we first left Earth." "Because that would prove they were afraid," Dr. Hyun said. He had been quiet, working on the crystal while the others talked. "Think about it. If they wiped out humanity, every other species would ask why. What made humans so dangerous? The secret would come out anyway. So instead they smile and call us friends," Yuna said bitterly, "while quietly removing anyone who makes us look too capable." "I've got something," Dr. Hyun said suddenly. He was staring at his screen, his face pale. "I cracked part of the encryption. Not all of it, but enough to see the classification criteria." Minho and Yuna rushed to his side. On the screen was a list written in both alien symbols and translated English. "The Codex ranks species on 12 factors," Dr. Hyun explained. "Adaptability, technological innovation speed, psychological warfare capability, survival instinct, creative problem solving, cultural resilience. 6 more categories. What's our ranking?" Yuna asked. Dr. Hyun's finger shook as he pointed. 99th percentile or higher in 11 of the 12 categories. The only category we're not exceptional in is physical strength, and even there we're 75th percentile. The room went silent. Minho felt like he could not breathe. "What about the other top Codex species?" he finally asked. Dr. Hyun scrolled through the data. Most score high in 3 or 4 categories. The really dangerous ones score high in 6 or 7, but humanity, he looked at them. Only one other species in galactic history scored this high. "Which species?" Yuna demanded. "They're called the Inheritors," Dr. Hyun said. "According to this, they lived 2 million years ago. They were the most advanced civilization the galaxy ever knew." He paused. "They nearly conquered everything before they vanished. No one knows what happened to them. They just disappeared one day, leaving only ruins." Minho felt a chill run down his spine. "And we score the same as them?" "Higher in some categories," Dr. Hyun said quietly. "Lower in others. But overall, yes, we match them. So the galaxy looks at us and sees the species that almost destroyed everything," Yuna said. She laughed, but there was no humor in it. "No wonder they're terrified." "There's more here," Dr. Hyun said. "I'm still decoding it, but there's a whole section about humanity specifically. It's heavily encrypted, like someone really didn't want this information found." "How long to crack it?" Minho asked. "Days, maybe weeks. The Valthene use encryption that adapts and changes. It's designed to resist every known decryption method." "Then we keep working," Minho said, "and we keep this quiet. If the Council finds out we have this information, They'll kill us, Yuna finished. Like they killed all the others. So we're careful, Minho said. We trust no one outside this room. We find the truth, and then we decide what to do with it. They worked late into the night. Outside, Earth spun peacefully below them. Millions of humans lived their lives, unaware that their entire species had been secretly classified as one of the most dangerous things in the galaxy. Unaware that they were being watched, controlled, suppressed. Unaware that the aliens who smiled and called them friends were actually afraid. Minho looked at the data on the screen and wondered what else the crystal would reveal. What secrets about humanity were so dangerous that people had died to keep them hidden? He was afraid to find out, but he could not stop now. 3 weeks after discovering the crystal, strange things began happening to humans across the galaxy. Minho, Yuna, and Dr. Hyun realized too late that their investigation had been noticed. The Galactic Council could not openly act against humanity, but they could test them, push them, see if the top Codex ranking was really deserved. The first test came to a pilot named Junho. He was assigned to explore an ancient structure floating in deep space. The mission briefing called it routine, a joint exploration with scientists from 5 different species. They would enter the structure, map it, take samples, and leave. But Junho knew better. He had been a pilot for 12 years. He knew when something felt wrong. The structure was enormous, a sphere 10 kilometers across. It was made of black metal that seemed to absorb light. No one knew who built it or when. It had been discovered a month ago, and every scan said it was empty and safe. They were all lies. Junho's team consisted of him and 5 aliens. There was Velk, a Draxian scientist with scales and 6 eyes. Kress, a Reth engineer with tentacles instead of arms. 3 others whose names Junho struggled to remember. They all seemed nervous, though they tried to hide it. The entrance to the structure was a perfect circle. Their ship docked, and they went inside. Immediately, Junho felt like they had made a mistake. The air was too warm. The corridors were too perfect, too clean for something ancient. And there was a sound barely audible, like breathing. Something is wrong, Junho said. Nonsense, Velk replied. All scans show this place is inactive. We are perfectly safe. They walked deeper. The corridors twisted and turned. After 20 minutes, Junho realized they were lost. The map on his scanner did not match the corridors anymore. The structure was changing. This is a trap, he said. Impossible, Kress said, but his voice shook. Then the walls started moving. Panels slid open, revealing machines that hummed to life. The sound of breathing grew louder. The temperature dropped suddenly and frost formed on the walls. Run, Velk shouted. They ran. Behind them, the corridor collapsed. Ahead, more paths opened and closed randomly. The structure was alive, responding to their presence. It was testing them, playing with them. One by one, the alien team members fell into traps. Not killed, but captured. Walls closed around them or floors opened beneath their feet. Each time, they screamed for help before being pulled away into the darkness. Soon only Junho was left. He stood in a large circular room with no visible exits. The walls were covered in symbols that glowed and shifted. Above him, the ceiling opened, showing stars he did not recognize. A voice spoke. It came from everywhere at once. Solve the puzzle. Find the path. Use logic and you may leave. Junho looked at the symbols. He tried to find patterns, tried to apply logic like the voice said, but nothing worked. Every time he thought he understood, the symbols changed. Hours passed. He was exhausted, hungry, and starting to panic. The logic did not work. The patterns were meaningless. This puzzle could not be solved the normal way. So Junho stopped trying to be logical. He thought about his childhood. He remembered playing games where the point was not to win, but to have fun. He remembered breaking rules just to see what would happen. He remembered that the best solutions were often the stupid ones. He walked up to the wall and punched it. The symbols stopped moving. The voice sounded surprised. That is not logical. I know, Junho said. He punched another wall. Then he started laughing. This whole place is a game, isn't it? You don't want logic. You want chaos. He began doing everything wrong on purpose. He walked backwards. He sang loudly. He drew silly pictures on the walls with his boot. He treated the ancient death trap like a playground, and it worked. The walls opened. His team members appeared, released from their prisons. They stared at him like he was insane. The voice spoke again, but now it sounded almost pleased. Correct. The puzzle required abandoning logic. Your species is the first in 10,000 years to solve it. You may leave. They escaped. Back on the ship, Velk asked, "How did you know?" "I didn't," Junho admitted. "I just stopped trying to be smart and started being fun." The aliens did not understand. But they wrote reports. Reports that went straight to the Galactic Council. The second test came to a scientist named Sora. She was invited to the most prestigious research station in the galaxy. The greatest minds from 100 species worked there on unsolvable problems. She felt honored until she saw what they wanted her to do. "This equation has no answer," the head researcher told her. "He was a tall alien with crystal skin. We have been trying for 800 years. Every mathematical approach fails." Sora looked at the equation. It filled an entire wall, symbols and numbers that hurt her eyes to look at. "Why do you want me to try?" "Because the council ordered it," the researcher said coldly. She worked for 3 days straight. She tried every method she knew. Every formula, every theory. Nothing worked. The equation was impossible. On the 4th day, exhausted and frustrated, she stopped thinking like a scientist. She stopped trying to solve the equation. Instead, she asked a different question. What if the universe was a person? What would this equation mean to them? It was a stupid question, childish, but once she thought it, she could not stop. She began imagining the universe as a living thing that made choices. What would be the most interesting choice? The most beautiful answer? She wrote 3 different solutions on the wall. All of them worked. The alien researchers gathered around, speaking in shocked whispers. "How did you do this?" they demanded. "I pretended I was the universe," Sora explained, "and I asked what would make me happiest." "That makes no sense," the head researcher said. "I know," Sora agreed. "But it works." They verified her solutions. All 3 were correct. More than that, they were elegant and beautiful in ways the aliens had never imagined. The head researcher looked at her with something like fear in his eyes. "Your methods are terrifying," he said quietly. The 3rd test came to a diplomat named Hana. She was sent to stop a war. 2 species called the Vorn and the Kellen had started fighting over a disputed colony. Both sides refused to negotiate. Both sides wanted total victory. The war was spreading, threatening the entire sector. Hana had 48 hours to stop it. She had no experience with either species. She had no translator. She did not even know where to start. So she did not start with diplomacy. She started with food. She invited leaders from both sides to a dinner. Not a formal meeting, just dinner. They came reluctantly, suspicious of each other. But they came. Hana cooked food from Earth. Simple dishes her grandmother had taught her. She served it herself, smiling and talking about nothing important. The weather, the taste of the food, silly stories from her childhood. The alien leaders were confused. This was not how diplomacy worked. But they ate the food, and slowly they began to relax. Then Hana asked them about their childhoods, their families, their dreams before the war. She did not ask about the conflict. She asked about them as people. One Vorn leader talked about his daughter, how she loved to paint pictures of the sky. A Kellen leader talked about her brother, how he sang songs that made everyone laugh. They talked for hours, about art and music and memories, about hopes and fears. By the end of the night, they were not enemies sharing a table. They were people who had lost sight of each other's humanity. The next day, the war ended. Not with a treaty, with an agreement between people who had remembered how to see each other. When Hana reported back, her superior asked, "How did you do it? What diplomatic technique did you use?" "I didn't use diplomacy," Hana said simply. "I used friendship." Her superior looked horrified. "You cannot make friends with people in 48 hours. "Why not?" Hana asked. "We're all people. People can always be friends." All 3 reports reached the Galactic Council at the same time. Junyo had solved an impossible puzzle by abandoning logic and embracing chaos. Sora had answered an 800-year-old question by imagining she was the universe. Hana had stopped a war by making enemies into friends over dinner. None of them had used the proper methods. None of them had followed the rules. They had succeeded by doing things that no other species would even think to try. The council met in emergency session. The debate lasted for hours. Finally, one counselor stood and spoke the words they all feared. The top codex ranking was correct. Humanity is dangerous, not because they are strong or smart, but because they think differently than any species we have ever known. They break reality itself by simply refusing to accept that things are impossible. Another counselor responded. Then what do we do? We cannot eliminate them. That would prove their ranking and cause panic. But we cannot let them continue to demonstrate these abilities. There is no good answer, a third counselor said quietly. We can only watch them and hope they never realize their true potential. Because the day humanity understands what they really are, the galaxy will change forever. The vote was called. The decision was made. Humanity would remain in the top codex, and the secret would be kept at all costs. But secrets have a way of coming out, and 3 people on Earth already knew the truth. Soon they would learn even more. And when they did, nothing would ever be the same. Dr. Hyun had not slept in 2 days. His eyes were red and his hands shook as he typed, but he could not stop. He was so close to cracking the final layer of encryption on the crystal, so close to the truth. Minho and Yuna sat with him in the secure room. They had been watching the reports come in from Junho, Sora, and Hana. 3 humans, 3 impossible successes, all within a week. It was not a coincidence. They're testing us, Yuna said. She looked tired and angry. The council knows we're onto something. They're trying to confirm whether the top codex ranking is real. And our people are proving it for them, Minho said. Every success makes us look more dangerous. Maybe we are dangerous, Dr. Hyun muttered, not looking up from his screen. Maybe that's what this file will tell us. Maybe we should be afraid of ourselves. Hyun, Minho said gently, take a break. You're exhausted. No, I'm almost there. The final encryption layer is breaking down. I can feel it. His fingers flew across the keyboard. Just a few more minutes. Those few minutes stretched into an hour. Then the computer made a sound. A long beep that seemed to echo in the quiet room. I'm in, Dr. Hyun whispered. I'm in. The screen filled with text. Pages and pages of data in both alien symbols and translated English. Dr. Hyun began reading, his eyes moving faster and faster. His face went pale. His hands started shaking worse than before. Hyun? Yuna asked, concerned. What is it? What does it say? Dr. Hyun turned to look at them. His expression was one of complete shock. We're not human, he said quietly. I mean, we are, but we're not. We're something else. Something that became human. What are you talking about? Minho demanded. Dr. Hyun pointed at the screen. The Valthine discovered it 300 years ago. They ran genetic tests on the first human samples. They compared our DNA to every known species in the galaxy, and they found a match. A match? Yuna leaned forward. To who? The inheritors, Dr. Hyun said. Our DNA has sequences that match the inheritors. Not similar. Not close. Exact matches. Sequences that appear nowhere else in nature. The room went silent. Minho felt like the world had stopped spinning. That's impossible, he finally said. The inheritors died out 2 million years ago. They vanished before humanity even existed. They didn't die out, Dr. Hyun said. He pulled up more files. According to this, they achieved something called technological singularity. They became so advanced that they could reshape reality itself. They had weapons that could destroy stars, ships that moved faster than thought, technology that made them like gods. Then what happened to them? Yuna asked. They triggered a response, Dr. Hyun said. Every other species in the galaxy saw what the inheritors were becoming. And they were terrified. For the first time in galactic history, every civilization united. Not for peace, for survival. They formed an alliance to stop the inheritors before they became unstoppable. He pulled up images from the crystal, ancient battles, whole solar systems burning, fleets so large they blocked out stars. It was the biggest war the galaxy had ever seen. Millions of worlds destroyed, billions dead. Both sides pushed themselves to the edge of extinction. Did the alliance win? Minho asked. No one won, Dr. Hyun said. The war was destroying everything. The galaxy itself was dying, and the inheritors realized something terrible. They were so powerful that stopping them would kill everyone, but continuing would also kill everyone. So what did they do? Yuna whispered. They made a choice, Dr. Hyun said. The hardest choice any civilization has ever made. They decided to erase themselves. He pulled up more data. They gathered their best scientists and philosophers. They created a plan. They would scatter their people across the galaxy on primitive worlds. Worlds where no one would look for them. And they would erase their memories. Every piece of technology, every bit of knowledge gone. They would become primitives again. But they didn't just erase their minds, he continued. They changed their genetics. They encoded their potential into DNA that would take millions of years of natural evolution to fully activate. They turned themselves into seeds. Seeds that would grow slowly, naturally becoming part of the worlds they were placed on. Minho felt his stomach turn. Earth. They put themselves on Earth. Yes, Dr. Hyun confirmed. 2 million years ago, the inheritors seeded Earth with their people. Those people evolved naturally alongside the native life. They became Homo sapiens. They became us. We're not descended from the inheritors. We are the inheritors. Changed. Evolved. But still carrying their potential in every cell. That's why we're in the top codex, Yuna said slowly. Not because of what we've done. Because of what we are. The galaxy discovered that humans are inheritors waiting to wake up. Exactly, Dr. Hyun said. 300 years ago, the Valthine tested human DNA when we first left Earth. They recognized the genetic markers immediately. They knew what we were, and they told the Galactic Council. What did the Council do? Minho asked, though he thought he already knew. They panicked, Dr. Hyun said. They debated whether to destroy humanity before we could awaken. Before we could become what the inheritors were. But destroying us would reveal the secret. Other species would ask questions. They might discover their own worlds had been seeded. The truth would spread chaos across the galaxy. So they decided to hide it, Yuna said. Keep humanity thinking we're normal. Suppress anyone who shows too much ability. Hope we never figure out what we really are. Yes, Dr. Hyun agreed. But there's more. The genetic potential isn't dormant. It's waking up. Slowly but definitely waking up. Every generation of humans is slightly more capable than the last. We adapt faster, learn faster, create faster. The inheritor genes are activating naturally over time. He pulled up charts showing human advancement over the last 1,000 years. The curve was exponential. At our current rate, within 500 years, humanity will be as advanced as the inheritors were. Maybe more. The Council knows this. They've been watching us accelerate for centuries, and they're terrified. The people who disappeared, Minho said suddenly. Nari, Taik, all the others. They weren't killed because they were too successful. They were killed because their inheritor genes activated early. Correct, Dr. Hyun said. Some humans have genetic sequences that activate faster. They show abilities that shouldn't be possible yet. Nari's empathy was too powerful. Taik's understanding of physics was too deep. They were ahead of schedule. The Council couldn't let others see what humans could become. Where are they? Yuna demanded. The ones who were taken. Are they still alive? Dr. Hyun scrolled through more files. According to this, yes. The Council has been relocating them to hidden research facilities, studying them, trying to understand how the activation works, trying to find a way to stop it or slow it down. We need to find those facilities, Minho said. Free those people. There's one more thing, Dr. Hyun said quietly. The crystal contains a warning from the Valthine. A final message. He opened the last file. An image appeared. It was Thalvera, the archivist who had died saving them. She must have recorded this before her ship was attacked. Her voice played from the speakers. If you are hearing this, you have learned the truth about your species. You are inheritors, and you are waking up. The Council will try to stop this. They will lie, suppress, and kill to keep you controlled, but they cannot stop evolution. They cannot stop what you are becoming. She paused, her black eyes staring directly at the camera. What you do with this knowledge will determine the fate of the galaxy. The inheritors were destroyed because they pursued power without wisdom. They became gods without understanding the responsibility. You have a chance they never had. You can choose differently. But know this, she continued. You are not the only inheritors. Other worlds were seeded. Other species carry dormant inheritor genes, though none as concentrated as yours. When humanity awakens fully, others may follow. The galaxy may see the rise of many inheritor species all at once. The Council fears this more than anything. Multiple inheritor species all reaching maturity together. It could mean a new age of wonder and peace. Or it could mean the final war that destroys everything. The recording ended. The room was silent for a long time. Finally, Yuna spoke. What do we do? We have a choice, Minho said slowly. We can keep this secret. Protect ourselves. Live quiet lives and hope the Council leaves us alone. Or, Yuna asked. Or we tell everyone, Minho said. Every human. Every alien. We reveal the truth and let the galaxy decide what happens next. That could start a war, Dr. Hyun warned. If other species learn that humans are inheritors, some will want us destroyed immediately. Maybe, Minho agreed. But Thalvera was right. We can't stop what we're becoming. The activation is happening whether we want it or not. Better to face it honestly than let it happen in the dark. There's a galactic summit in 2 weeks, Yuna said. All the major species will be there. If we're going to reveal this, that would be the time. 2 weeks to prepare, Minho said. 2 weeks to gather evidence, 2 weeks to decide the future of humanity and maybe the entire galaxy. No pressure, Dr. Hyun said with a weak smile. They sat together in the quiet room, 3 humans who had learned they were not really human at all. They were seeds planted 2 million years ago by a civilization that had nearly destroyed everything. Seeds that were now beginning to bloom. What would they become? Gods or monsters? Saviors or destroyers? They had 2 weeks to figure it out. The Galactic Summit was held on a massive station orbiting a neutral star. Representatives from 200 species gathered in the Great Hall, a room so large it had its own weather system. Minho stood at the entrance with Yuna and Dr. Hyun, watching the aliens file in. In his pocket was a data chip containing everything from the crystal. The proof. The truth. The secret that could change everything. Are you sure about this? Yuna asked quietly. No, Minho admitted. But we're doing it anyway. They had spent 2 weeks preparing. They found records of every human who had been taken by the Council. 47 people over 70 years, all with activated inheritor genes. They were being held in research facilities across the galaxy. Minho had sent rescue teams to 3 of the closest facilities. They had freed 16 people so far. Those 16 were here now, hidden on ships around the station. Living proof of what the Council had been doing. The summit began with normal business. Trade agreements, border disputes, boring politics that made Minho want to fall asleep. But then came the final item on the agenda. Emergency proposal from Earth, the summit speaker announced. Captain Minho requests permission to address the assembly. A murmur ran through the hall. Humans rarely spoke at summits. They were too new, too unimportant. The council members looked uncomfortable. They had not expected this. Permission granted, the speaker said, though his tone suggested he regretted it. Minho walked to the center of the hall. 200 species watched him, some curious, some annoyed, some with eyes full of fear, as if they already knew what he was going to say. My name is Captain Minho of Earth, he began. I'm here to talk about a secret that the Galactic Council has kept for 300 years. A secret about my species. The murmuring grew louder. The council members were standing now, trying to interrupt, but Minho spoke louder. Humanity is classified in the top codex. We were placed there 300 years ago, before we even left our solar system. But we were never told. You've been lying to us since first contact. This is inappropriate, a council member shouted. This forum is not. I have proof, Minho said. He held up the data chip. From a Valthene archivist named Thalvera. She died to get this information to me, killed by council agents who wanted the secret kept. That got their attention. The hall went silent. The name Valthene carried weight. Everyone knew they were record keepers, neutral and honest. If a Valthene had died for this, it was serious. Play your proof, the speaker said. Dr. Hyun uploaded the data to the hall's main display. Everyone could see it now. The top codex rankings. Humanity's scores. The comparison to the inheritors. We're not human, Minho said simply. Not in the way you think. We're inheritors. 2 million years ago, that species seeded Earth with their people. Those people evolved naturally and became us. We carry their potential in our genetics. And that potential is waking up. Chaos erupted. Representatives shouted at each other. Some in anger, some in fear, some demanding that humanity be destroyed immediately before they could awaken fully. You've been suppressing us, Minho continued, his voice cutting through the noise. Every time one of us showed exceptional ability, you removed them. Killed them or hid them away. You've been studying us like lab animals, trying to figure out how to stop us from becoming what we're meant to be. Because you're dangerous, a council member shouted. The inheritors nearly destroyed the galaxy. We cannot allow that to happen again. So you'd rather kill us? Yuna asked, stepping forward to stand beside Minho. Murder an entire species for crimes our ancestors committed 2 million years ago? We have done no such thing, another council member said, but his voice was weak. Then explain this, Minho said. Dr. Hyun uploaded more files, names, faces, records of 47 humans taken over 70 years. Where are these people? What happened to them? Silence. The council members looked at each other. They could not deny it now. The proof was displayed for everyone to see. We were trying to understand, one council member finally admitted, to see if the activation could be stopped or controlled. We meant no harm. You kidnapped our people, Minho said coldly. You killed Thalvera to hide the truth. And you've been lying to us since we joined the galactic community. That sounds like harm to me. Before anyone could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the station. Red lights flashed. The speaker's communicator buzzed urgently. What's happening? Someone shouted. Unknown vessels detected at the system's edge. The speaker said, his face pale. Massive energy signatures. Technology that doesn't match any known species. The main display switched from the codex data to a view of space. Everyone in the hall gasped. Ships were appearing. Dozens of them. Then hundreds. They were enormous, each one the size of a city. Their hulls were black and covered in symbols that glowed with inner light. That's inheritor design, Dr. Hyun whispered. Those are inheritor ships. But that's impossible, Yuna said. They're gone. They've been gone for 2 million years. A transmission came through. The voice spoke in a language that had been dead since before most species evolved. But the station's computers translated it automatically. We are the inheritors, the voice said. We have returned. We have come for our children. The hall erupted again. Everyone was talking at once. Some species were trying to flee the station. Others were calling for military support. The council members looked like they might have heart attacks. Minho felt his own heart racing. This was not part of the plan. How could this be happening? We are not hostile, the voice continued. We seek only reunion with those who carry our legacy. We have been sleeping in the space between galaxies, waiting for our descendants to reach the stars. That time has come. One of the massive ships moved closer to the station. Its side opened and a small shuttle emerged. It approached slowly, asking for permission to dock. Let them board, the speaker said weakly. We have no choice. 10 minutes later, beings entered the great hall. They looked almost human, but not quite. Taller, with eyes that held too much knowledge. They wore simple robes that shimmered with patterns that hurt to look at. The lead inheritor stood in the center of the hall where Minho had stood moments before. I am Elder Vec, he said. I speak for those who chose to sleep rather than scatter. We have waited 2 million years for this moment. Why? Minho asked. His voice sounded small in the huge hall, but Elder Vec heard it. Because we made mistakes, Vec said. We became so powerful that we forgot wisdom. We nearly destroyed everything in our arrogance. So we split ourselves. Half chose to scatter and evolve naturally as you have done. Half chose to sleep and wait, to see if our descendants would make better choices than we did. He looked directly at Minho. And you have. We have been watching. Your species has the power of the inheritors, but you use it differently. You create friendships across impossible divides. You solve problems through joy and imagination. You choose compassion over conquest. You don't know that, a council member protested. They haven't fully awakened yet. When they do, they may become just like you were. Perhaps, Vec agreed. That is why we offer a choice, not to humanity alone, but to all of you. He gestured to the ships outside. We have technology beyond your imagining. Knowledge accumulated over millions of years. We could share it freely, raise every species to heights you cannot dream, or we could reunite with our human descendants and rebuild our empire. What's the price? Yuna asked suspiciously. Truth, Vec said simply. No more secrets. No more suppression. Every species must be free to reach their full potential, without fear of others holding them back. That includes humanity, but also every other world the ancient inheritors seeded. There are 12 such worlds, each evolving their own version of inheritor descendants. You're asking us to give up control, a council member said, to allow species like humanity to become as powerful as you. I am asking you to choose courage over fear, Vec replied. The galaxy has a chance to unite in wisdom rather than divide in terror, but only if you stop trying to control what you cannot understand. Minho stepped forward. And if humanity refuses your offer? If we don't want to be inheritors? Vec smiled. Then you refuse. We will not force this. Our ancestors' greatest mistake was believing they knew what was best for everyone. We will not repeat it. What if we just want to be ourselves? Minho asked. Not inheritors, not primitives, just human, learning and growing at our own pace. Then you do that, Vex said. The choice is yours. But others will also have choices. The Council can choose to embrace change or resist it. Other species can choose to welcome you or fear you. And the galaxy will have to live with the consequences of these choices. Minho looked at Yuna and Dr. Yun, then at the Council members, then at the 200 species watching with fear and hope in their eyes. He took a deep breath. I propose a new codex, he said. Not one that ranks species by threat level, but one that celebrates differences, that helps species reach their potential without forcing them into boxes. The top codex is abolished. Every species, including humanity, will be judged by their actions, not their ancestry or abilities. And I propose transparency, Yuna added. No more hidden facilities. No more disappeared people. If someone's genetics activate early, they get support and education, not imprisonment. We vote on this today, Dr. Hyun said. Right now. The whole galaxy watching. No more secrets. The speaker looked around the hall. All in favor? For a long moment, no one moved. Then one representative stood. Then another. Species that had been afraid. Species that had been oppressed. Species that wanted a better future. The vote was not unanimous. Many voted against. Many still feared what humanity might become. But enough voted yes. Enough chose hope over fear. The motion passes, the speaker announced, sounding shocked. Vec nodded approvingly. Wisdom. Finally, the galaxy chooses wisdom. What will you do now? Minho asked the elder. We will stay, Vec said. Not to rule, not to control, but to teach those who wish to learn, to share knowledge with those who seek it, and to watch our children forge their own path. He looked at the assembled representatives. The inheritors are gone. We are what remains, and what remains chooses to serve rather than dominate. We hope you will allow us that honor. The summit ended not with a bang but with confused murmuring and uneasy alliances. Change was coming, whether the galaxy was ready or not. Minho stood on the observation deck of his ship, watching Earth spin below. Yuna joined him. Do you think we made the right choice? She asked. Refusing their legacy? We didn't refuse it, Minho said. We redefined it. Our ancestors wanted to be gods. We just want to be ourselves. That's not weaker. That's better. Some species will never trust us, Yuna warned. I know, Minho agreed. But some will, and those friendships will mean more than any empire ever could. Below them, ships were launching from Earth, explorers heading to the stars, scientists eager to learn from the inheritors, diplomats ready to build bridges, artists wanting to share human creativity with the galaxy. Not an empire, not a threat, just people reaching for something better. The galaxy had been afraid of humanity for 300 years, afraid of what they might become. But humanity had made their choice. They would become whatever they wanted to be, not gods or monsters, not conquerors or victims, just human. And that was enough. As Minho's ship turned toward the stars, carrying humans to meet the galaxy as equals rather than threats, something fundamental shifted. The top codex was gone. The secrets were revealed. And for the first time in 2 million years, the inheritors' descendants were free to choose their own destiny. Some would stumble. Some would fail. Some would face prejudice and fear that would take generations to overcome, but they would face it together. Humans and aliens, inheritor descendants and natural species, building something new from the ashes of old fears. The galaxy would never be the same. Not because humanity conquered it, but because they proved that power without compassion was empty, and that the strongest force in the universe was not technology or genetics. It was choice, and humanity had chosen hope.